has some palpitation. In case of supraventricular tachycardia, if in this region carotid sinus, if you do the carotid sinus massage, that can be relieved. Supraventricular tachycardia can be relieved by massage on the carotid sinus. Then other content, you have these branches of external carotid artery. The external carotid artery, which is a branch of common carotid artery. The common carotid artery gives two branches. Internal carotid artery goes inside the skull and supplies structure within the skull. External carotid artery supplies the structure of head, neck and face outside the skull. This external carotid artery branches are superior thyroid artery, lingual artery, facial artery, then posterior auricular artery, ascending pharyngeal artery, maxillary artery, superficial temporal artery. So these all are branches. So in order, sometime in examination question can be asked, name the branches of external carotid artery and describe the facial artery in detail. So in order to remember the name, there is very interesting mnemonic to remember the name of branches of external carotid artery. First mnemonic you should not write in exam. Mnemonic is Sister Lucy face powder often attract medical student. So S for superior thyroid artery, then you have L for lingual artery, F for facial artery, P for posterior auricular artery, O for occipital artery, A for ascending pharyngeal artery, M for maxillary artery, and S for superficial temporal artery. Out of these, the two terminals, superficial temporal and maxillary, they are not the branches within the carotid triangle. So they are not the content of carotid triangle. Remaining are branches within the carotid triangle. You see here, these are there. These all are the branches. So these branches, posterior auricular, superficial temporal and maxillary, they are not within the carotid triangle, remaining all branches there. Then you have carotid sinus, carotid body. So these are the content. So you can see once again, carotid artery. Now, other than that, in carotid triangle, we have vagus nerve. The vagus nerve lies within this carotid. So vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. This is very important now. It lies between the common carotid artery and internal jugular vein, and it is covered by the carotid sheath. The vagus nerve supplies all the organ of neck, thorax and abdomen. All the organ of neck, thorax and abdomen are supplied by vagus nerve. That is the parasympathetic nerve for the all organ, and that is important content of carotid triangle. So vagus nerve, carotid artery, its branches, then you have, other than that, internal jugular vein. When you see the internal jugular vein, if you remember, it is a continuation of sigmoid sinus. In cranial cavity, we will study there are sinuses. They are made up by the dura mater. Once they come out through the skull, they are made up by tunica, media, intima and interna. Then we call it vein. That is the difference between sinus and vein. So once sigmoid sinus comes out through jugular foramen, it continues as internal jugular vein. Then internal jugular vein is the continuation of sigmoid sinus. It is the content of carotid sheath, as well as it is the content of carotid triangle, and it is related with the vagus nerve, common carotid artery, internal carotid artery. So that's about the internal jugular vein. Now internal jugular vein unites with the subclavian vein and form the brachiocephalic vein, and two brachiocephalic vein unite and form the superior vena cava. So these are the branches. Then ansa cervicalis, I'll tell you at the end of this lecture detail, because that is a separate question. That is also the content of carotid triangle. So applied anatomy of carotid triangle, I told you sudden turn of the head can cause syncope because of the stimulation of carotid sinus. Then carotid sinus syndrome can be there. Patient has the tachycardia, and that can be relieved by massaging of the carotid sinus. Now digastric triangle. Next triangle you see, this one is the digastric triangle. The digastric triangle, if you see here, anteriorly it is bounded by anterior belly of digastric. Posteriorly it is bounded by posterior belly of digastric and stylohyoid. Within the floor we have mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid muscle that takes origin from the mandible. Inside mandible you have mylohyoid line, and it is inserted on hyoid bone. So mylohyoid form the floor. Roof is formed by the skin, superficial fascia, then investing layer of deep cervical fascia, then facial vein lies within the roof, and mylohyoid nerve also lies within the roof. So these are the boundaries of this digastric triangle. And now you see this is the digastric triangle, anterior belly of digastric anterior boundary, posterior belly of digastric and styloid is the posterior boundary. This is the floor. This is the floor of this. Now within the floor you have some superficial veins are there. Now to mylohyoid is there, facial vein is there. These are superficial structure. Now what are the content? What are the content of this digastric triangle? Within the digastric triangle, superficially you have facial vein. Superficial is facial vein, submandibular lymph node, superficial part of submandibular gland. Okay, these lies within the superficial region. In the deep region, we have facial artery, then deep part of the submandibular gland. More deeper, we have this external carotid artery. Then we have hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve is also the content. Then we have 9th, 10th, 11th nerves. Also, they lies deeper in this triangle. So you see this structure, anterior part of digastric triangle. This one, these are the structure. Then you have these are the structure: external carotid artery, internal jugular vein. So whatever content are there in carotid triangle, they are the deeper content of digastric triangle also. So superficial to mylohyoid, as I told you, you have submandibular gland. See, this is the submandibular gland. Then now to mylohyoid. Now to mylohyoid is a branch of inferior alveolar nerve. Inferior alveolar nerve. Okay, that is a branch of mandibular nerve, and mandibular nerve is a branch of trigeminal nerve. So within the mandible, there passes the inferior alveolar nerve that gives a branch that is anterior nerve to mylohyoid, and that nerve to mylohyoid supplies anterior belly of digastric and mylohyoid muscle. This is again important in Viva. The digastric muscle has anterior belly and posterior belly. The anterior belly is supplied by nerve to mylohyoid, and posterior belly is supplied by facial nerve. What is the reason? The reason is embryologically. During embryonic life, the anterior belly of digastric dwell from the first branchial arch, and posterior belly of digastric dwell from the second branchial arch. The mandibular nerve is the nerve for first branchial arch, and facial nerve is the nerve for second branchial arch. So in embryonic life, whatever muscle will dwell from the arch, same arch nerve supply remain even after the birth. Muscle may go on a higher position or the lower position, but nerve supply remain the same. That we will study detail in embryology. So this is the, here you have nerve to mylohyoid also. You see here, then hypoglossal nerve is there. So deep structure, you have submandibular gland, submandibular duct, lingual nerve, which is a branch of mandibular nerve. Lingual nerve is also there. Then along with the lingual nerve, venae comitants. Okay, two lingual veins are also there. Then styloid ligament is there. Glossopharyngeal nerve is there. Lingual artery is there. These all are deeper content in digastric triangle. So why do we study the content? These contents are important because during surgery in submandibular region, surgeon has to know the important nerve, blood vessel also. So these are the contents of, you can see with this diagram in examination, you can explain this diagram. So lingual nerve, hypoglossal nerve, nerve to mylohyoid, these three are the nerve: lingual artery, lingual vein, facial artery, facial vein, submandibular lymph node. The submandibular lymph node are again very important in this region because they drains from forehead, they drains from medial side of the eye, they drain from the frontal sinus, ethmoidal sinus, maxillary sinus, most of the part of the tongue. So all lymph is drained to this submandibular lymph node, and they have communication with the cervical lymph node. So in case of infection, that can spread with the lymph node, especially the cancer also, metastasis can be there through this lymph node. So some lymph node are very important. In case of cancer, if submandibular lymph node are enlarged, they have to be surgically removed. So that is the clinical importance of digastric triangle. Now next we are going to see the ansa cervicalis. Ansa cervicalis is a loop of the nerve. It is the loop of nerve. You can make out this loop, this one. Loop means a turn. So it is formed by the superior root and inferior root. The root value of ansa cervicalis is C1, C2 and C3. It runs along with the hypoglossal nerve. Then we call it descendant hypoglossi. It runs, it is embedded over the carotid sheath, and through it branches, it supplies all infrahyoid muscle. Sternohyoid, sternothyroid, superior belly of omohyoid. These are the muscle. They are supplied by this nerve. So that's why we call it. See, this is ansa cervicalis. As I told you, C1, C2, and C3. C1 also supplies to the dura mater, meninges, and C1 is accompanied by the hypoglossal nerve, and this hypoglossal nerve carries the fiber. We call it descendant hypoglossi, and it supplies to, these are the muscle: sternohyoid, sternothyroid, omohyoid, and thoracoid. 4 muscle are supplied by this. So this is ansa cervicalis, which is short note. So this is the diagram you can make out. Now next, a short note can be there in this region, sternocleidomastoid. So sternocleidomastoid is a long oblique muscle on the side of neck, and this muscle takes origin from sternum. Okay, sternum is the origin. Insertion is here, sternum and clavicle. It takes origin from the anterior surface of upper part of the sternum, medial 1/3 of the anterior surface of clavicle. Then it is inserted into the mastoid process. Now supplied by spinal accessory nerve, 11th cranial nerve. And action, it help in the flexion of the neck and side to side movement of the neck, you see. So when there is damage to this nerve, 11th cranial nerve, the muscle will be also damaged, and in that case there can be torticollis like this, if you can make out. So action will be lost. So this is torticollis. And when both the muscle contract, you can raise that like this. You can raise the hand. When you raise your head from the pillow, both the muscle contract, and one side muscle contract, you bend the neck. So that is the short note of sternum.